Today we're talking to Altrincham manager Phil Parkinson, and the big news at Altrincham Football Club this week has been the major signing of Ollie Crankshaw from Stockport County. Phil, this is a real sort of mark in the sand for Altrincham Football Club, I think.
Yeah, big marquee signing this for us. One I'm extremely excited about. He's a lad I've tracked his career from his Cone days, Curzon Ashton, Wigan Athletic. Tried to get him on loan, tried to get him permanently, and on a number of occasions he ticks all the boxes for the type of winger that we try and recruit here. He's a great lad as well, real good character. I just think, like I said, it's a real marquee signing and a bit of a, I'd go as far to say, a bit of a game changer for us. He's that good.
And with the loss of Ryan Colclough last season, very, very difficult player to replace because of the quality that is Ryan Colclough. But in Ollie Crankshaw, we've got an absolute top-end player and, of course, a player who's won the National League.
Absolutely. Everything about him oozes class. His pedigree is outstanding. And I'm glad you've made that comparison to Ryan, because I think when we lost Ryan, that was such a huge void to fill, and one that I didn't think we'd be able to do. But I think with Ollie coming in, it can't get any better for us. So the board have certainly backed our judgment on this one. He's one where it's a huge statement from the football club to be able to attract an Ollie Crankshaw when he will have had many, many suitors at different teams. We tick a lot of boxes for Ollie as well. So hopefully it can be a match made in heaven.
And with Ollie Crankshaw, we're getting quality. We're also getting quantity, because you've mentioned in a few interviews recently that the squad isn't the biggest. And whilst we've made a really good start to the season, and we've got a very good team, and we've made some terrific signings in the close season, that it's probably not going to do us for a 46-game season.
No, I think there's still additions that will need to come in at some point, and hopefully that's what this additional investment will allow us to do. It's not all there for the playing budget by any way, shape or form, but I made it very clear when this investment come in that if we were going to move on any players, it needed to be to strengthen the starting 11, not just to bring a squad player in. I'm sure there'll be times where we might have to add to the squad, but they'll potentially be loans. This is a huge signing for us, one that is easy for me to justify to the rest of the players why he's here. He's one that will give them all a lift. And I'm a big believer in strengthening when you're strong. So that's what we were waiting for, that opportunity to do that. We've made a good start. We look quite a strong team at the moment in terms of what we can put out as a starting 11, and then the supplementary bits alongside that, in terms of, as you could see, that the squad was at full stretch against Fylde, and we didn't really have much in terms of the front ranks to give much threat. And then when we did bring on a Justin and a Chris, it did change it for us a little bit. But ultimately we can't rely on these players to play every single minute of every single game, because they'll burn out. And when you have front lads, and the way myself and Neil have always operated, we'd always have 4 really good wingers who were going to put pressure on each other. Ideally 2-10, so that's probably an area where one will have to slide inside there to support Chris at times, and 2 centre forwards. And when you do that, you give yourself really good options in attack, but also competition and freshness. So we've seen the benefits of bringing on a Dior for a Regan, and Regan's been outstanding. But when Dior's come on, that's put not huge pressure on Regan, but it's allowed Regan to realise that he can't rest on his laurels, because Dior's come in and absolutely smashed it when he's come in. But also what it's doing for the team, it's benefiting the team. So the bit we've sort of enhanced is that front line. I feel the front line's as good as what you're going to see in this division, and now the rest of them have got to sort of match that as well. So the midfield, the defence, and that's what happens. It's like a chain reaction. Everybody ups the game because they know they have to, because we're moving forward. And if you want to continue to move forward, you've got to up your game and keep pushing. And that's how this football club needs to operate. And bringing in an Ollie will only do that. It will enhance everyone, give everyone a big lift, but also make people realise that they can't rest on the laurels and they've got to keep improving and keep moving forward.
We're transitioning from the first month of the season, August, into September. and that starts with a home game against Bromley, a team that we've never ever beaten at the J. Davidson Stadium. They've generally had the better of things down through the years between the two clubs, and always a very, very tough assignment against the Kent side.
Absolutely, I said straight after the Fylde game, didn't I? What a tough game that will be, and how difficult our August has been. You're playing another one of the playoff teams. They might look like they've had a bit of a tough start, but they've had injuries, suspensions. I've listened to a few of Andy's interviews. He's not quite got the recruitment in that he wanted to get over the line at times, but look what they've got up front. They've got one of the best centre forwards in the division in Michael Cheek, and he always gives them a great chance in a game to win a game. We went to watch them against Rochdale the other night, and they obviously had a game plan of sitting deep, soaking up pressure, which they're very, very good at. And he only needs one opportunity, and he took it and he got them back in the game. And Bromley are a very difficult team to play against. They're very together as a football club as well. You can see that great team spirit, work hard for each other. I could see it when they went to 10 men the other night. They really pulled together. And in Andy, they've got a manager who knows what he's doing, and he sets them up a particular way, and it gets some results. And by hook or by crook, they're always there or thereabouts, either in the playoffs or pushing for them. So, as you've alluded to there, we've probably not come out on the right side of the results while we've been playing Bromley, but I think there's been a few times that we should have got the result and we haven't, and hopefully we can turn that round this time.
On Bank Holiday Monday at Fylde, phenomenal support from the Altrincham fans, and they've got a big part to play on Saturday.
A huge part, and I had real mixed emotions after the game at Fylde. So delighted that we'd brought so many fans with us. So pleased at the way they got behind us, but really frustrated that we couldn't get them the win. But we're not always going to win, and that doesn't mean that we should have a huge drop-off in support. It's just, unfortunately, football. You're not going to win every game. We're not all conquering Altrincham. We're that team that's moving forward every season, and I keep going on record as saying, so we finished 14th, 17th and 14th. The other way around, 17th, 14th and 17th. So to break into that top 12 has got to be our main objective. But when people will see an Ollie coming in, it's we're going to win the league, we're going to make playoffs. It doesn't necessarily work like that. Ollie will definitely improve us, make us better, but we've got to follow them incremental steps, that sort of them foundations that we've been building. We've got to keep doing that and not get carried away and not get too down when we lose. But the fan base is reflective of them incremental steps that we're making, and everyone's got to play the part. Where I'm saying the players, myself, the board, the fans do as well. If we want to be classed as a big club, that's what we need turning up, especially when we have them local games. So it's huge. It's massively appreciated, but I feel if we're going in the direction we want to be, that's the kind of support we need to be taking when we travel, in the north in particular, especially on a Saturday. And when they do come, one of the reasons, and we weren't great Saturday, it's probably our worst performance, one of the reasons we probably were just about to be able to limp over the line was because they were there supporting us. It might have felt like a loss because they'd come back in the dying seconds, but let's make no bones about it, we probably should have lost that game on the way the play had gone, but we didn't. We had 10 men for that last bit that felt like half an hour. We'd played 101 minutes, but it says 98 minutes. They scored in the 99th, 100th minute, whatever it was, because he'd added an extra 2 minutes on for whatever reason during the extra time. So the lads did exceptionally well to get over the line there and get a draw, as I said to you, against all odds, but the fans certainly helped us do that.
And you mentioned we finished with 10 men. What's the latest with George Wilson? Yeah,
it's not a break. We were really worried he broke his ankle. We thought it was his knee at first. He not broke his knee, but we thought he'd done some knee damage, but it wasn't. It was his ankle. When we'd spoke to him, he went for an x-ray. Thank goodness there's no break there, so we'll have to check for ligament damage. If it's ligaments, sometimes it's better to break your leg, believe it or not, than do your ligaments. We saw what happened with Ross Barrows, where he had a double whammy last season of ligaments and a break. So touch wood, it's not too bad, but I won't know until he comes back in and the injuries settle down and we can examine it more closely.
Now, with the bank holiday weekend, 2 games in 48 hours, that forces teams to prepare for 2 games. You can't prepare for one and then start for the other. So the old cliche of preparing for 1 game at a time is out of the window. We're now moving into a new month, and we do prepare for a game at a time, but we have to look at the month ahead. And this is a really difficult month. 7 games, which is difficult in itself. 4 away from home, all of which are long trips.
Yeah, so you look at Barnet and Wealdstone in particular there, so we're probably going to have an extra overnight stay that we haven't done previously. Again, the investment has helped do that, because we wouldn't have been able to do it. We would have had a certain amount of away fixtures that we could have done an overnight on, so that will give us a better chance of preparing as well as we can. With regards the games in themselves, again, it just doesn't get any easier, does it? You look at how hard this August has been, and then you look at the travel, the types of teams you're playing. But this is why this league's so great, and this is why the club have done what they've done. We needed that reinforcement, we needed that lift after a really tough month, and hopefully that can again spur us on going into September.
And it is very early days. We've had a good start, so we're sitting in a playoff position, which is nice, but it's only just a start. And you mentioned AFC Fylde, Bromley, not had the best of starts, but are very, very good sides. Things can change very, very quickly. We've seen that over the bank holiday weekend with Dagenham and Redbridge. They've gone into the bank holiday weekend having just taken a single point against us on the opening day of the season, and they've come out of it with 7 points in total.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's just look at the start we had last year. I keep saying it, people always say about the poor start. It wasn't a poor start, it was a poor run of results for us. The performances were there in a lot of games, and as I said about Fylde, as a manager, as a coach, you see past the results, you look at the performances, you look at what you're playing against, and you do that with yourselves as well. So we know we're doing what we want to be doing, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. Obviously I look at opposition when we're playing against them, but ultimately I'm really happy with the progress we're making. We're probably slightly ahead of schedule of where I thought we would be in terms of the togetherness of the group, the cohesion, the way that we're able to play, the fact that we've been able to change shapes more than we probably ever have. Enforced at times as well through the size of the squad, but hopefully with Ollie coming in, as I've said, it should allow us to have that bit of or greater strength and depth to not have to rotate for personnel reasons, to do it for the right reasons because of what we're coming up against.
In terms of the crowds to date, we've had a couple that 1,1700, and we've had a big crowd against Chesterfield. We're coming to the end of the holiday season, so Saturday's a real opportunity for Alty fans to turn up in numbers, and that of course increases the vocal support.
I hope so, and that's all of, well, me personally, and I know the group of players, the management team, the board, that's all we want to do. We want to get people into our stadium, entertain them, and I'd like to think 9 times out of 10 we do that. It's not boring football, we're definitely entertaining, a lot of goals scored. I'd like us to concede less, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to go hand in hand. If you're a free scoring team, you're always susceptible at times to goals going against you. But ultimately, I want a brand of football where I want to stand at the side of the pitch, enjoy what I'm watching, be proud of the team in terms of there can never be a question mark over our lads going right to the end. A desire to play for the shirt and the badge, that old cliche, but I'd challenge anyone who said our players don't do that. Look at the amount of comebacks that we give, look at the way that they'll fight to the end in every game. That's the bare minimum, the prerequisite of any Altrincham fan, or any fan wants to see their players. Our players do that. I mean, I think we play an attractive brand of football that's easy on the eye, that creates lots of chances, and hopefully can be more consistent with regards results this season. And if we can do that, we'll have a great season and people really enjoy the ride, but come along for it. You can't enjoy it if you're sitting on your sofa looking at your Twitter feed. Come along, watch us, support us, and again, be part of it. And if you're part of it, you'll enjoy it even more. So
that's the message from Phil Parkinson. Gates open, 1:30 on Saturday. The fan zone's open. Get yourself down, have a beer, have a curry, and get yourself ready for what will be an exciting National League encounter. Altrincham versus Bromley, kick-off 3 p.m.